So, all of the flights, betas, tests, whatever you want to call them, they came, they went, and now we're left with one question. Who is the king of the FPS war? I want to take a look at all the stats and kind of see where everybody sits at. And I think you might be surprised at who's my number one. Now, usually I don't like to engage in community war stuff, but I think this time I'm going to stir the pot just a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your man with no plan. I am your host, Devi Devster. Let's get into the video. In one corner, we have Battlefield 2042, a fresh new take on the Battlefield series that weirdly chose Apex Legends as its inspiration for a movement, but you know, hell, I don't care. Then we have the yearly juggernaut Call of Duty with its 60th World War II game in a span of 10 years. Then there's Halo, a veteran series that is fighting to win back the great standing it had in the FPS community once again. So, let's get into my rankings and I'll let you guys know how I feel about where they are. First, we're going to start at who's coming in at last place. Now, this may come as a shock to some of you, or if you played the beta, then it isn't a shock at all. But at the bottom of my FPS list right now is Call of Duty Vanguard. I mean, this game truly felt like Call of Duty at its peak complacency and a little bit more. I didn't even know that that was possible. I've been losing interest in Call of Duty over the years. I mean, the only reason I even played Cold War was because of Warzone, so I could get the guns, and at this point, I almost have zero interest in the game. Like, zero. Like, honestly, when I tell you, I only played the beta for I think maybe an hour, and that was enough for me to decide how I felt about the game. Just in that 1 hour. It was the same old beats. It's the same cycle of you get excited for a little bit, you come back and you're like, oh. Like the maps, they all felt the same. I can't even tell you which map was unique. There was a beach map, I think that was kind of cool. That had like a ship in it. That was nice. But that's pretty much it. Guns, I don't know how many times you can do MP40 over and over again, but that's what happens when you stay in the same type of setting. Customization was just reskin Modern Warfare, so I guess it's cool, whatever. Kill streaks, same old boring stuff. At this point, I'm sick of it. I really am. I feel bad for Sledgehammer because it seems like they're trying really hard to make this a good Call of Duty. They kind of get sandwiched in between Black Ops and Modern Warfare, so they're kind of trying to compete with the two mainline series. They've talked a lot about investing into their campaign mode. The lead writer talked about wanting to make characters that, you know, resemble Master Chief, like iconic characters you can kind of go back to, which that's awesome. I think I wish them the best of luck, but even if they do achieve something like that, it's not enough for me to really even want to play the game. Then there's a zombies mode, which honestly at one point used to be one of the only things I played Call of Duty for. But at this point it feels so oversaturated with all these complex storylines, and you know, I love Easter eggs and stuff, but at this point I can't keep track of it. It's too much, and now especially that there's this whole other multiverse with Sledgehammer zombies, maybe it'll be good. I would love for them honestly to do a standalone thing that I could just play the zombies, because then maybe I give that a try. But once again, just like the campaign mode, it's not enough. But at this point, I can confidently say that I am not interested in Vanguard at all. Even with the slight pull of the other modes, it's just not doing it for me. It's not doing it. They really just need to take a break. Stop, think about, maybe make it a 2-year thing. Call of Duty, I get it, you're big. Maybe just stick to Warzone. I've been liking Warzone a little bit, aside from the anti-cheat and all those other problems. Maybe focus on that a bit. Now, Battlefield. Oh, Battlefield. We have a lot of history. Battlefield Bad Company was, I think, one of the first FPS games I ever played. It was awesome. I loved the campaign. I loved the multiplayer. It was the whole deal. And it didn't just stop there. I played Battlefield 3 when it first came out. I loved the game. And I put an unhealthy amount of hours into Battlefield 4 when it released. And I still kind of play it every now and then to this day. So there's a special place in my heart for the Battlefield franchise. However, recently they've kind of lost me a little bit. I think the decline kind of started with Battlefield Hardline. It was just an game. And Battlefield 1 was cool at the time. I think the initial pull of it was, oh, new setting, new maps, you know, crazy, you know, environments to play in. But then that very quickly fell off for me too. And then when Battlefield 5 came out, I think I was at the lowest point where I played it for a little bit, maybe a couple of hours, but it didn't hold me the same way that the other games did. And we won't even talk about that battle royale mode they tried to do. I don't know what was going on there. But unlike Call of Duty, Battlefield seems to be able to pull me in each time they announce a new game. They always have great trailers. So when Battlefield 2042 was announced, I went through the same cycle. I was excited as shit, but I was a little bit more skeptical just because of the last two games. And this beta coming out recently made me like the game a lot and a little bit less skeptical, but it's not in the clear yet. First of all, let's just talk about the good things, right? The game looks amazing, just like photorealistic, explosions look awesome, jets, every lighting, wonderful. I was blown away. The sandbox felt great too. There was a lot to do, a lot of cool, like, Battlefield moments, nice new gadgets to kind of contribute to that, especially like the grappling hook. Like, at this point on TikTok, I've already seen so many clips with people doing crazy things with the grapple hook. I need to try it out again more. And it felt familiar too. Like, it definitely reminded me of like a Battlefield 4 kind of vibe. So that made me feel, for a veteran player, fit right at home. It didn't feel too different, but had a nice, fresh coat of paint. But like, especially when it comes to like the movement in the game, that's where the game confused me, I guess, a little bit. That's where the Apex comment came in. I've seen so many clips where it almost looks like a Pathfinder grapple hook flying across the map and 360 rocketing a jet. It's crazy. I love it. It's different, but it works. Now, on the downside were the bugs. And I get it's just a beta, but the beta is what they had to show, so I, will critique it on what it had to offer. I definitely ran into a share of bugs. There were some visual bugs. It almost happened so often with this one glitch. It was like jets would teleport around the sky, so you couldn't even like lock onto them with like the rocket launcher. That was weird. And just a couple other things, like I think the game crashed on me once, which, like I said, it's a beta, but still not fun to deal with. The UI felt very bare bones. I would hope they would add more to it and make it look a little bit more interesting and pop a bit. The maps also, or the one map that they had to offer, was a bit big for even like a Battlefield setting. I kind of found myself walking in like open areas with nothing going on in between like capture points, but other than that, it was fun. But all in all, it was a pleasant experience. I definitely am looking forward to trying the full game when it comes out, so I think that's why it sits definitely above Call of Duty, but at my second place spot. I think a lot of y'all could probably see it coming that Halo was my number one, but man, do they deserve it. Halo is my baby. It's my first FPS game I ever played, and it kind of propelled me on my journey into my love for FPS games as a whole. I have what is probably an unhealthy amount of hours in all of the games and played through the campaigns too many times at this point. I even read some of the books. I have never delved into a universe like I have for Halo, and that's why it's so special to me. So when it comes to these games, I get really anxious about how they will be. Ever since 343 took the reins, my love for the games kind of fluctuated. I loved them, but I always had an issue with them, 4 and 5. 4 was great to me in terms of, I enjoyed the story. The multiplayer was a little bit too COD-like for me. I'm sure everybody had the same issues. Halo 5 was a better, trajectory for the game, but it still just didn't hold me like, Halo 3, Reach, and 2 did. And, maybe that's my high expectations clouding my judgment. I have these high expectations. So when Halo, Infinite was announced, that same level of expectation was there. When the game was revealed, I was genuinely excited, but a little bit skeptical. I wanted this game to be good so bad, but I knew what had come before it. The maps are perfect. They're fresh and new, but they still have that classic Halo feel. The guns felt tight, balanced, powerful. They looked new, but they had that same hard punch that they always had in the older games. Movement was fast-paced and fit the maps and the, adding sprint, but it didn't feel not like Halo. It felt like, them finally getting it right, especially with sprint. Big Team Battle looked amazing and had a great sandbox, and it was made even better with like the new abilities, especially like Battlefield, the grappling hook made for awesome Halo moments and enhanced the already great gameplay that was there before. From a purely multiplayer perspective, 343 has knocked it out of the park for me, and I'm so glad that they did. I've been itching to play this game again. Like, the idea of having to wait until December to like finally get my hands on it is borderline depressing. I've just been trying to play like random games to like fill the void and play Master Chief Collection just to give me the drop of Halo I need to just get me through the days, and it still isn't enough. And the biggest thing is no game has done that for me in a really long time. And that's why this feels different than, you know, when Halo 4 and Halo 5 were coming out. Now, I don't know too much regarding the campaign. That could, you know, be the deciding factor in whether this is a perfect game or just an okay game, but, you know, we'll have to see when the full game comes out. Now, if they give the same care and detail that they've given the multiplayer, I have no doubt in my mind that it will be a wonderful campaign experience. So that's it. That's my ranking. Halo, for the first time, is actually being talked about as a top contender for releases in the year. It's a great thing to see, and I honestly cannot wait to see what both it and Battlefield will be like when their full games come out. COD, on the other hand, I do not care at all about and could give two shits less. They can sit in a hole and think about what they've done. Let me know what you guys think. Where do these games stand in your rankings? Leave a comment, like, subscribe. It really helps out the channel. It's been your boy Devi. See you later.